It's 840, Big 550, KTRS. Let's talk a little David Stokes, who's a policy analyst for the Show Me Institute. Good morning, David Stokes.
Good morning, McGraw.
What's going on with school choice?
Well, this is National School Choice Week, and school choice has been an issue that the Show Me Institute has always covered since our founding a decade ago.
Right.
And my colleagues, James Scholes and Brittany Wagner, are our two experts in it. And we've got an event on Thursday at the St. Louis City Central Public Library down there downtown on Olive.
Sure.
Thursday the 29th from 7:30 to 9. It's a panel of students talking about how they've benefited from school choice. I think this is from the school transfer program or Riverview Gardens in Normandy and the like.
Right.
And it's open to the public. It's free to attend, and I hope some of your listeners can join us.
School choice, where are we with school choice? It seems like it's everywhere and nowhere all at the same time.
Well, it had no sort of major school choice program has come to Missouri, meaning the Milwaukee or the Washington D.C. style voucher programs.
So in Washington D.C.,
come here.
In Washington D.C., the money is with the kid, and the kid can spend the money wherever he wants.
Well, it was, and then I think it got pulled by the Obama administration. I think they changed that.
Right.
Now, so I would encourage people to check out what we have at showmeinstitute.org to follow up. But what we have in Missouri is we have school choice through the unaccreditation process, for better or worse.
Right.
Where when school districts fail, as they have in Riverview Gardens in Normandy, or become unaccredited is the better term,
right,
then the students can attend other public high schools. And that, of course, has been amazingly controversial and in the news the past year and a half to 2 years here, although it is working out very well for the students who've chosen to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Charter, though, charters are allowed, and there are charters all over the place. And so has there been a rush? I mean, it seems like there's not enough charter schools for all the kids who want to go to these charter schools, and the charters have had mixed results.
Well, the charter schools I think they've had very good results. They're mixed in that, sure, some of them have failed in the city of St. Louis, but when a charter school doesn't do a good job, it goes out of business.
Right.
It stops educating kids because nobody will send their kids there, unlike a failed public school, which seems to continue on and on. We need to change one key thing about charters. Charters are allowed in unaccredited school districts. They're allowed to operate in Missouri.
Okay.
So in St. Louis or Kansas City, very large school districts, very large student populations, you can open charter schools because there's enough kids in that district who might want to come to support your charter school. It's much harder to do that in a small district like Normandy or Riverview Gardens. So we're not seeing charter schools open in those districts because if you open a charter in Riverview Gardens, it's only open to students from Riverview Gardens, which isn't comparatively that big of a school district. We really need to change the law to allow charters at a minimum to allow cross boundaries from different unaccredited school districts so that you could open in Normandy and students from Riverview Gardens or St. Louis City or Normandy could all attend, or same with Riverview Gardens. And you could open these. We have charter schools in the city of St. Louis that are very, very entrepreneurial, very, very creative. We have, language immersion schools. We have those construction trade schools. We have all types of different things that appeal to different students and different families. That's terrific. We need to allow in Normandy and Riverview Gardens students to cross boundary lines to go to different charters that might open there.
What about, say, Francis House School District, a seemingly well-run, good school district? Should they be allowed to have charters?
Well, I think they should be able to. They're not, and I don't think there's much chance in the upcoming legislation of that being allowed.
Right.
It would be enough in this legislative session, trying to be reasonable, rational in expectations,
right,
to allow St. Louis City, Normandy, Riverview Gardens, students in those areas to at least cross boundaries to recruit charters, to open charters.
Yeah.
It would be great to see charters all over the state. Trust me, I think in rural Missouri, where there are many public school districts, I think really not doing a very good job of educating their kids, although they are accredited in all those cases. I think charter schools could be very beneficial out there.
Lots of times people complain that when we talk about public schools, private schools, Catholic schools, charters, that we're not comparing apples to apples. And the argument is that when a public school opens its doors, it must by law take everybody, the best and the brightest, as well as the learning disabled, as well as all the other people who don't even speak English. They have to somehow perform and educate them. Whereas, isn't it true charters can sort of pick and choose, or hey, we don't have that resource for you, Mr. Learning Disabled Kid. Please go somewhere else.
Well, my colleague James Scholes has written extensively on this, and you can find his writings on that question at showmeinstitute.org. And what James would say, I will try to say what James would say, is that, yes, I mean, charter schools they open. If you're a language immersion school, then only people who want to go there are people interested in language immersion, Spanish or Chinese or whatever. So they do get to pick, but charter schools are public. I mean, there's no charge to attend a charter school.
Right.
And in the respect of getting to pick their students and being able to say no to some students, they're no different from the magnet schools that operate in St. Louis City as well. Those are public schools. We've all seen very successful performing art magnet schools, math-intensive magnet schools. Those are public schools, absolutely, in the same way that charter schools are public schools. So not every public school gets to pick or choose. In St. Louis County, if a student has severe learning disabilities or other behavioral issues, they can be moved from that public school district to the special school district, which is also a public school system, free to attend for students, paid for by property taxes.
Also, the argument is, and coming from sisters who are teachers, they will tell you, or teachers will tell you. Let me ask this question this way: if you're a great coach and you have terrible players, you're going to be deemed a bad coach, right? So you could be a great teacher, and you could have terrible students who come to school hungry, not fed, not bathed, have no basis for learning, don't know their simple ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and so aren't we not forcing these parents or asking these teachers to do jobs that are unrealistic, and therefore it's not the school that's failing, it's the surrounding community that's failing, and no matter what school or any type of funding system you put in, those kids in that school area will still be troubled.
I don't think anybody would deny that being a teacher in a challenged public school district, be it an urban district or a rural district, one with financial and community challenges, being a teacher in those districts is an unbelievably difficult job.
Right.
And how you grade or rank or determine pay for these teachers is a very complicated, difficult system. Now, we've gone to a system, perhaps in response to this, in which case we take, in most public school districts, any type of opinion out of it, where everybody just moves in lockstep, where no matter what you teach, it's your year, you bump up a year, you go up. The pay scale is the same for everybody.
Right.
And that is not working.
Right.
Because that means that when you have to maybe you have to cut back 1 year. I mean, that excellent, aggressive young teacher gets forced out in favor of the old teacher who might have mailed it in decades ago.
Yeah.
Because they don't allow any discretion in how you pay and promote and advance teachers.
But it's so hard. I mean, we've all had great teachers, and they're worth $1 billion. We've all had terrible teachers that you wouldn't pay them a nickel. But it's kind of hard to sort of rationalize or determine who's who. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. But I will say this though: there are just as many bad students in the Ladue school or bad teachers in the Ladue school district as there are in the Normandy school district. But it just seems like the student and the ability to learn and all the other ancillary baggage the students in Normandy show up with is a determining factor in the grades.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of information up on how teachers can be ranked and graded and promoted and propose changes to the system to allow better teachers to be rewarded and failing teachers to not be rewarded. Right now, you treat everybody the same, and that's not working. And people can see at showmeinstitute.org about how changes to the pension system for teachers can be implemented to allow the city of St. Louis to recruit from outside, because right now, if it's a different pension system in the city, so if you were in a St. Louis County school district and you wanted the challenge to move to the city and teach in there, you'd be making severe sacrifices with your pension because it's a totally different system.
Yeah.
So we need some changes to allow for greater discretion and greater changes to the way that we pay and rank teachers.
Quickly, when is that symposium again?
The meeting is this Thursday at the City Public Library, downtown on Olive, 7:30 to 9. It's a panel on school choice, and it's a student panel with their experiences in the transfer program. And people can read more about it and talk about it at showmeinstitute.org.
David Stokes, thanks for checking in.
Thanks, McGraw.
8:50. We'll talk Mizzou hoops next with